I'm Jack Redford. I'm the president of the Senate SAR. Commander Wilkerson, please present the color.
Roger the guard. Take the field.
Please join me in the singing of our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Commander Wilkerson will now lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to our nation's
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chaplain Ken Carpenter will now deliver the invocation.
As we gather together, O God, for this dedication today, we ask your blessings upon each of us. We thank you for this occasion as we honor the memory of 12 today. We extend the virtue, faith, and Lord, and willingness to sacrifice to make our world a better place. We thank you too for America and all the patriots that have given us the liberties, the courages that we enjoy. We would be wanting to serve you and our nation, even as we did today. May our ideals on the past famous today and the safeguard for us tomorrow. Amen.
Patriot Jim Houston will now lead us in the pledge to the SAR.
We descendants of the heroes of the American Revolution, who by their sacrifices established the United States of America, reaffirm our faith in the principles of liberty and our constitutional republic, and solemnly pledge ourselves to defend them against foreign foes.
Thank you, Jim. Daughters, sons, children, patriots, descendants, and welcome guests. Thank you for attending and helping our society, the Sons of the American Revolution, recognize these 12 patriots' grave sites in this memorial. We gather today amidst the flag of our great nation and under the umbrella of our Lord to dedicate this final resting place of our patriot ancestors for their service in the American Revolution. Surely, without that contribution to the cause of liberty, we would not enjoy the blessings of freedom that they gave us. This simple marker we dedicate today is an expression of our heartfelt thanks and serves to remind us of our obligations and responsibilities in maintaining this republic for which they struggled and sacrificed. I'm, as I mentioned before, John Breton Porter of the Cincinnati chapter. I'm also the treasurer of the Ohio Society. I'd like to recognize some of our other patriots here today. Turner Lee Wilkerson is our first vice president of the chapter. He is also our Nolan Carson Memorial Color Guard commander, and he is the secretary of the Ohio Society. He's over here. Michael B. Gunn, our immediate past president of the chapter, is also the Ohio Society Historic Sites and Graves chairman. He has worked diligently on this event today, and he's made really this possible. Ken Carpenter is the president of the Highlanders chapter. He is also our chaplain. And we thank Ken for being here today to honor these patriots. I'd like to also recognize Eva Osborne of the Cincinnati DAR, Beverly Brooks Weldon, DAR of the Tulsa, Oklahoma chapter, Alden Caulfield, Governor Othniel Looker Harrison, Ohio. Are there any other SAR DARs? At this time, I'd like to now call. Yes, Aaron Everett and one of our chapter, Cincinnati chapter. Thank you. I'd like to now call Mayor Doyle Webster forward, or I guess maybe the governor of Webster, I think, after I saw him. He's going to tell you about the Restoration Cemetery and the great work that they've done here in Springdale.
Thank you very much. I'd like to welcome all of you on this fine, beautiful day. I'd like to thank the SAR for choosing this site for their annual ceremony. And this is probably a ceremony that's long overdue. You know, I'd like to just take a couple minutes here to introduce a few people. Most most notably, Mr. Jeff Agricola, which I think you're going to introduce later on, but I think a special thanks goes out to him. And I get the real, I don't think Mr. Bob Sears is with us today. And Dave Butch also served in the same capacity as Mr. Agricola. And all three of these guys have been the superintendent of our Public Works Department that are responsible for what you see here today. Give you just a little history of the St. Mary's Cemetery. This is a real historical treasure, one of the jewels of the city of Springdale. This land going all the way back into the 1700s was part of James McCormick's farm. And it would happen to be the site of the Presbyterian Church. The church was out front here on the Great Road, as it was referred to back then. And the Presbyterians built their log cabin, or the log church there, 1801, 1803. And it had been used as a cemetery since that time. Now, in 1802, right in the middle of the building of the church, they had the first interment here, and that was a fellow by the name of William Preston. And as best we can tell, and here again, when you try to go back through history, you get different facts, and so who knows what's really true. But as far as we know, there are 731 people buried in this cemetery. And as you know, 12 of those served in the American Revolutionary War. And if you walk through here, and I urge you to do that before the day's over, and you just look at the tombstones and look at the date of birth and date of death, and you'll see that about 40% of the folks that are buried here died before they reached the age of 21. So longevity was not a thing that our forefathers enjoyed. There have been no interments here since 1953, when a lady named Nellie Clausen was interned here. Her daughter's ashes were buried alongside her father's gravesite, I don't know, sometime in the last 10, 15 years. Now that's the original history. Let me give you the current history of this site. I happen to be the longest elected official in the history of the city of Springdale. This being my 47th year as an elected official. When I was first elected back in 1971, I vividly remember the constant harangue between city officials and the Presbyterian Church about this cemetery. The city officials wanted to do what they could to make it a real treasure it is today. The Presbyterian Church took a lot of, they had ownership of it for 170 years, and they really weren't eager to get rid of it. They took a lot of pride in the ownership, and they tried their darndest to maintain it. But the elders were getting long in tooth and short on funds, and so in 1987, they sold it to the city of Springdale for $1. Well, fortunately at that time we had a city administrator by the name of Cecil Osborne, who was a real history buff, and he took a real active stance in trying to get money for this. So he got a community block grant for about $50,000, primarily to pay for the wrought iron fence you see that surrounds the cemetery. He also dedicated the city workforce. This Mr. Bob Sears happened to be the superintendent of public works at the time. He dedicated their manpower to clean this site up. And you could not walk through this cemetery. The grass was overgrown. Tombstones were damaged. The ground was sunken. Tree limbs all over the place. It was utterly impossible to walk through this cemetery. So after all their work and effort, they painstakingly took the tombstones down the street to the maintenance garage, worked hastily to get those things restored, and you see what the results of their efforts here today. So that marked a turnaround for St. Mary's Cemetery, and that was 1987. And not only brought it up to landscaping standards, but like I say, the grave markers were identified, and I'm not so sure that even today we can identify all 12 of the soldiers that we're going to honor here today. I know for a fact we can identify 10 of them, but I'm not sure whether Jeff and his staff have been able to track down the other 2 or not. But anyway, I want to just thank everyone for all their efforts in making this a memorable occasion for the city of Springdale. And once again, thank the soldiers of the American Revolution for choosing Springdale today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Governor. I'd like to, Jeff Agricola, would you like to come forward and tell us about the project? Come on. A lot of these activities like this wouldn't happen without our partnership with the community. And Jeff is the director of public works.
Well, as the mayor mentioned, the restoration of the cemetery occurred a number of years ago, actually prior to my joining Springdale. But since then, we have taken maintenance. And we were very happy when Mike reached out to me, I don't know, maybe now 6 months ago, when we started planning this event to once again shine a light on the cemetery.
Thank you. At this time, we would like to recognize the descendants of the patrons that are here today. As I call your name, please come forward. We're going to have a little presentation for one of you. We have one descendant that's actually a descendant of, I count 4 of the Patriots, Robert and William Preston, William Van Dyke, and Abraham Roll. This is Elda Cofield. She's also from the Cincinnati DAR. From the Van Dyke family, we have Miss Cynthia McCorkle from Indianapolis, Beverly Brooks Weldon from Tulsa, Oklahoma, Linda Castle Hess of Sapulpa. Here, tell us. Oklahoma. And Terry Castle Thane from Terrellton, Oklahoma. James Patrick Young and his wife, Rita Lynn Young from Crossville, Tennessee. Cynthia Lowe's Hengard and her husband Norman from Vandalia, Ohio. And then we have the descendants of Abraham Roll. We have Eve Osborne of the Cincinnati DAR. Sorry. Marianne Mittermeier, our own Cincinnati SAR treasurer Michael Bloom and his children Carrie and Emily Bloom. And are there any other descendants that are present that I've missed? Okay. At this point, I would like to ask Emma Hartman, daughter of compatriot Jeff Hartman, please come forward. Emma is dressed as a Patriot camp follower. Many women followed our soldiers during the war and offered much needed aid and support. Records that document these ladies' activities are very sparse, but we should also remember their contributions to the winning of our liberty and freedom. Emma will present a rose to symbolize those contributions to each of our Patriot descendants. Okay, We're now going to introduce the memorial. I'd like, since you're the descendants, stand up around the memorial here, but leave an area in the front so we can unveil it. Perfect. We are here today to permanently memorialize 12 Patriot soldiers who are buried here in Old St. Mary's Cemetery. The memorial that will soon be unveiled is temporarily displayed at this site. It will be permanently installed over behind the large obelisk over there. There's an Ohio historical marker, and there's a little garden there, and the marker will actually be there. Thought for this today, it would be best to do it in the middle of the cemetery, away from the traffic. So, we hope you can understand why we're doing it this way. At this time, I'd like Gary Duffield to come forward and unveil the monument. It's now time for the roll call of the Patriots. I invite Larry Collins and Gary Duffield to present the roll call of the Patriots. Is Kenny here? Oh, I'm sorry. He didn't make it. Excuse me, it's Gary Collins and Kenny Burke.
John Brescher. Patriot Brescher, at the age of 16, became a drummer for a Connecticut regiment. Then an active guard on the lines and ranging the country as a scout. Benjamin Edgard. Patriot Edgard served as a private with New Jersey and was in the Battle of Monmouth. I had an ancestor at the Battle of Monmouth. Cornelius Little served as a private with New Jersey. Michael Long. Patriot Long served with the 1st and the 5th Pennsylvania on the Continental Line in 1778. James Lowes. Patriot Lowes served as an ensign in the 3rd Pennsylvania Regiment, Continental Line. Robert Preston. Preston served as a private in the Fairfax County 3rd Virginia Regiment. Thomas Marble under Lieutenant Colonel William F. and Colonel Alexander Spotswood. William Preston. Patriot Preston enlisted in Colonel William Van Company and was also regimental artificer for Fowler's artillery. Abraham Roll. Patriot Roll was a private in Captain Peter Layton's company, Colonel Sylvanus Seeley's battalion, Morris County, New Jersey militia. John Schooley. Patriot Schooley enlisted in 1779 for 1 year in the New Jersey militia and as a private 1 year under Ensign Cornelius R. Sedone and Lieutenant Joseph Catalan. Solomon Slayback. Patriot Slayback served on the classified militia of New Jersey, serving from 1776 under Colonel Hire and Colonel Nelson, protecting the lines. William Van Dyke. Patriot Van Dyke served as a private in Captain Peter Broome's 2nd Regiment, Somerset County Militia, and in 1777 in a company commanded by Lieutenant Jacobus Quick.
John Wilkinson. Patriot Wilkinson served as a private for Virginia.
Thank you, Larry. We now formally dedicate the monument. We, the members of the Cincinnati chapter of the Sons of the American Revolution, dedicate this march memorial to the glory of God and in the recognition of the memory of these honorable patriots of the American Revolution. I will now place the Cincinnati chapter SAR wreath on behalf of the Cincinnati SAR chapter, and then call each of our presenters to place their respective wreaths. Patriot Jared Knight will escort each presenter as a pontoon escort.